Hello and welcome to Gully Boys of Cricket, the voice of fans. Gully Boys is a podcast where fans can speak their mind and also keep share the trophy request to ICC alive. I am your host, Prakash Wadhwa, and today we have Aaron Kumar from England joining us. Hello Aaron, welcome.
Hi Prakash, good to be with you again.
Yeah, good to see you. And today we are talking about some side stories related to the World Cup 2019 final, which open up some crucial discussions. I mean, these are just side stories, but these open up some critical questions for ICC and for the game. We'll talk about the dead ball discussion. Aaron will look forward to hearing from you about MCC and its connection to England cricket. Knowing that Kumar Dharam Sena is part of MCC cricket committee, so is there a borderline conflict of interest, maybe him standing in the final? First of all these things coming up in the past couple of weeks. So World Cup final is still alive and people are thinking about that result.
I completely agree with you, Prakash. I think we did say, and obviously, first of all, we know that we're going through a very tough time. The world is going through a tough time. And I think we're mindful of that. We're respectful of that. It's and we pay a lot of respect to the frontline services around the world. So there is that element. But as far as the Cricket World Cup goes, as you say, in the finals last year, I certainly feel, and I think you touched on it, that in this time that we're getting to reflect, it is focusing people's minds a little bit more, because I think we discussed it about 6 months ago before all of this happened. We said that it might take a few years, maybe, for people to get to that point where, as long as we keep the pressure, we share the trophy, people start to actually maybe see more incidences happen that are similar or more injustices, and they come around to that way of thinking. But I actually think you might get one country where tragically they have something going on, or a natural disaster or whatever it might, but not the whole world coming to a standstill, not no sport anywhere in the world. I think it is making people look back at past matches or think back. People are even talking about some of the rules that happened in that match, or the justices of what happened. It really, people aren't forgetting about it. I don't think this discussion is going to go away anytime soon.
And that's very well said. I mean, reflection is a great word you said in there, because all these times with all that is going on around the world, it's giving us all a great time to reflect on some of these things. Hope everyone is, doing well in these times. But talking of reflection, Peter Boren, I believe he's been a former captain of Holland, and he brought up these couple of interesting points. He did talk about the super over, which has already been changed, but he brought up the other important argument, which is the dead ball, that overthrow which happened with Ben Stokes. He said that should be a dead ball. What's your view on that?
I find it very interesting that he said that. Obviously, I follow cricket a lot, like we all do, and I love cricket. I don't claim to be an expert on the rules as such. I mean, I'd expect Dharmasena and the umpires to be, but I know as much as I do. But my initial thing when I watched that live was, I thought that was a dead ball. I thought that the moment, I've heard people even say that could be out for obstruction. I don't know, but I certainly thought it was a dead ball. And, it's widely accepted that if it hits the bat in that situation and doesn't go for four, the players, out of respect, won't run. They won't run because they acknowledge. So on that basis, it just seems absolutely madness and ludicrous. If the ball then trickles over for four, you're going to count that. I just don't understand how that works. So they wouldn't take one or two, but they'll take four. So yeah, it's just a bizarre thing to happen. And as you say, in my mind, that could be a dead ball. I can see the logic for that. And I just think it just re-emphasizes it's a farcical way to end a World Cup, really.
True. Just to add to your points, if a similar situation, this is now real game is on, when a bowler bowls and the batsman hasn't played a shot, hits his bat, goes for four, that doesn't count. So this should definitely not count. And I've heard Ramiz Raja say it, that it should be a dead ball. Shane Warne has said it, and I believe he's part of the MCC cricket committee,
right, okay,
which looks at the rules. So there have been other experts who have said it right after the World Cup. A side question just to that argument. England won the World Cup on super over rule, which has been changed, or the boundary count rule, which has been changed. And now if you take this out of the equation, make this a dead ball. Like, as an England fan yourself and feeling the scenario there, what credibility does it leave to that win? Like, what pride does it leave as an England fan?
It's interesting because I've spoken to people who I know quite well and who are cricket fans in this country, England fans here, and a lot of them feel that we'll take it. You know, we've got a World Cup, but a lot of them don't feel. I said to you this at the start, they wouldn't admit it, but 2005, the Ashes, when England won that, you know, this country, England, is not. Obviously, I've been to India. My father's Indian. I'm half West Indian. I know the passion in those countries. It's really not like that here for cricket. Here, you've got football, which is the national sport, and then cricket, you have pockets of people. It's mainly if you go to clubs or certain schools, you see it, but you don't really see people down the sort of shops or pub talking cricket. Maybe in the summer if it's a great series. It's very rare. You know, it's more little communities that are into cricket and they kind of find each other. So the 2005 Ashes, I remember that really kind of, because it was on free-to-air TV, it really galvanised everyone's mind. Everyone, it was the one summer I've really seen people talking cricket. And I think had last summer been an epic finish, which England had won even by a run or two, legitimately. I'm not saying their win was illegitimate, but I'm saying the way it happened, or something like that. I think you probably would have had a similar type of reaction in this country, but it really wasn't. It wasn't what I would assume for a country that's finally won a World Cup. When England won the Rugby World Cup in 2003, I remember much more of a reaction, considering that wasn't even hosted over here. And this was held here, you know, held here, right in the heart of the summer. People were aware of it. But people were almost embarrassed about it, I felt. And I think all this is doing with these rules that you're highlighting and saying we're questioning whether that could have been a dead ball, I think it's just kind of, reinforcing that, really.
Those are really, deep statements you've made there, Aaron, because there are two things. One is there's a checkbox that as a nation you want to win that thing. And a lot of that is administrative. It doesn't trickle down to the public. For public, it's about that galvanizing thing that you mentioned. So it's either a checkbox or something which galvanizes the nation or inspires a generation. Like what happened in 1983. It changed the course of Indian history.
Even 2007, you can argue in T20. Look how India won that with a young side. Then you had IPL almost on the back of that, didn't it, really?
Exactly. So you said some great points there. Now talking about, staying on the same theme, on what you mentioned, Jofra Archer, he lost his medal in his own home and found it. Yeah. Does that tell a story?
Maybe I'm a bit cynical. Maybe this is just a little bit silly. But in my mind, obviously, I'm sure he was upset, and it's good that he found it. But you win a World Cup medal. That is, you would imagine, for a player, their pride and joy. It's one of the biggest things they work for. It's one of your, if you think in any of our careers or whatever we're doing, there's going to be something that you're aiming for and something that you've got absolute pride in. Now, maybe it was just a clumsy thing that he forgot. That's fine. But had England won that match outright, or had it been a decisive win that he, in his heart of hearts, felt England had earned, in his heart of hearts, somewhere deep down, I just wonder if that was something that then he would have absolutely known, yep, that's up there in that room, and even if I move, I know exactly where that medal is, it's safe. Just wonder in the back of his mind if he just thinks, we've won it, but I don't feel like a winner deep down, and therefore maybe, I'm not saying he doesn't care about the medal, of course I'm sure he does, but has that same level of care or knowledge of where the medal is happen as if they'd won it. It's just, I think it's food for thought, definitely. You do wonder, what goes through someone's mind.
I was amazed to see that news at all. And I was equally amazed that it's not part of some, it's not displayed in his house and found in a guest closet. So for me, that told an untold story somewhere, which you rightly pointed out.
You've just kind of outlined it beautifully there. I mean, it's the fact that it wasn't displayed somewhere, a pride and joy. It wasn't sort of, out there for because I'm pretty sure, I know Flintoff, when they won the Ashes in 05, how proud, it was a real pride and joy for them. 05 was a real kind of watershed moment. So it was interesting. The fact that the World Cup medal was something he had to find almost kind of tags on to what you were saying earlier about that tick box. We've got the medal, but it's not necessarily something that we proudly feel we can display.
We will continue this conversation with Aaron Kumar in the next episode of Gully Boys of Cricket. See you there.